A halfway house is something that was designed to allow people to come out of the prison system who's very close to going home, and they put them in a halfway house to reacclimate a person so they can be ready to go back into society. We're hearing exactly what the halfway house is supposed to do, but then when we hear from the actual vendors, we see that it's not being done correctly.
A lot of the concerns that have been brought to me about halfway houses, and I have one in my district, is the accessibility to the drugs, the lack or the leniency on how they come and go, cell phones, and a lot of other issues. So this is something that I have dealt with on a personal issue. I have dealt with individuals that not only worked in halfway houses, but those individuals that were in halfway houses and ended up back in incarceration.
And we're hearing that there is a lack of infrastructure in some of these halfway houses. There's a lack of training, a lack of standards. There's a lack of accountability. And as one person testifying said, security is treatment. If people in a halfway house have access to drugs and alcohol and illegal cell phones, how can we expect them to get the treatment that they need to be more productive in society, and how can we expect that those operators of the halfway houses have the accountability they need to make sure our taxpayer monies aren't being wasted?
Hearing has been incredibly illuminating in terms of functions, how halfway houses actually operate, and quite frankly, in my opinion, the lack of accountability from the Department of Corrections. The reality is halfway houses have grown from a small, I think many of us think of like a YMCA sort of setting, and the reality is these places hold 1,100 or more people in some cases. There's when you consider that and you consider the lack of oversight that's occurred, along with some of the real fundamental problems that highlighted in recent press accounts, I think the committee has done a great job in terms of illuminating the issues.
Halfway houses, I believe, are really important in the continuum of restoration back to the community. I think we need to make sure that we have standards, that there are measurements that are taking place, that we understand that we're more outcomes based and process oriented. And now's the time that we need to re-examine what's happening and how we're doing what we're doing and what changes need to be made.
First and foremost, public safety. It's so unfortunate what happened to the Tooley family, and we have to make sure that we put things in place that never happens again. Also, what we have to do is make sure that the employees are safe. That's number two. And number three, not for nothing else, is that the taxpayers get their money's worth. Because when these guys do come out of these halfway houses, they must be employable. They must be able to go back into society and become legitimate taxpayers. We don't need to have them come out and go back to what they was doing to create recidivism. We have to move forward and get things done the right way.